So often you're going to come to a point where your code will work, but you'll recognize that you could improve the code by breaking it up into a series of functions that have specific jobs. And so that process is called refactoring. Refactoring is supposed to make our code cleaner, easier to understand, and easier to extend. And so I've got this following file that checks for a username in a file called username.json. And if the username's found in the file, then it simply says, welcome back, username. But if not, then what it does is it asks me for the username, stores the username in the file, and then says, we'll remember you when you come back. So for right now, let me show you how this works. Temporarily, I'm going to delete that file. Let's delete username.json. Let's run it. So it's going to ask me, what is your name? JC Partry. We'll remember you when you come back. Now, if I run the file again, it remembered me because it stored my username in the username.json file. So now the question is this. Yes, my program works, but is there a better, more efficient way I can go about doing it? And the answer to this is yes. We're going to create several functions that will do different jobs. And one of the jobs is I'm going to have a function that actually takes care of greeting the user. And then I'll use that greet user function in a different place. So first, let's get busy making that function. So function greet user. And then after that, we're just going to steal the following code. So let's steal the following code. Let's cut it, paste it. We can get rid of file name down here. Okay, let's make sure everything's tabbed appropriately here. So there we go, everything's tabbed appropriately. So now this entire block right here is a definition of a function. So my main program will simply be greet user, like so. So now if I run the program, it says, okay, what is your name? And I say JC Partry. Well, we'll remember you when you come back, JC Partry. Run the program again. Welcome back, JC Partry. And so there we go. It works so far. So we've taken all that code and we've written it into a function. But I noticed something here. If file not found, then I want to grab the user's name from the input and then store it. And then here in this function, if the file is found, if this is successful, then I'm going to retrieve the username. So what I want to do first is I want to write another function that retrieves the username if the file is found. So let's make a function called getStoredUsername. And let's make a doc type here. getStoredUsername if available. Now, what's the information we're going to type in here? File name equals username.json. So we're going to hardwire that in. And we're going to try the following code. So try with open file name as f username equals json.load from the file. Now, if we get a file not found error, then we're going to return the value of none. Otherwise, let's assume that it worked. Then we're going to return the username. Now, where will this function be placed? Well, right up here in this section right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say username equals get stored username, like so. Function here should go in front. Let's try that. Like so. Yes, now it works. All right, let's make sure everything is appropriate here. Now this code won't currently work yet because now the try is missing. So let's go ahead now and let's work on the next function. And the next function does what? Well, if this fails, so if username, in this case, if a username actually returned, not none, then print welcome back username. And we need to make it an F string for that to work. Else, and now what we're going to do is we're going to create another program called get new username. So I'm going to create that code here. Get new username. And this is how it works. Prompt for a new username, like so. There's the doc type. And what do we say? Well, we pretty much say all of this stuff down here. So let's grab this section here. Now we need a file name, so we're going to hardwire the file name in. So file name equals username.json. So now that's hardwired in. And then what we're going to do is once we have done that, the function is going to return that username. So return username. And there we go. So now we can get rid of this code right here. So now let's look at line 27. If username, so if 26 passes and it did get the stored username, then this if block will run. Else, username equals new username. There we go. All right. Now let's delete the old file. Let's run this again. What is your name? JC Partry. We'll remember you when you come back, JC Partry. Run it again. Welcome back, JC Partry. So the code functions exactly as it did before, but now it's been refactored in such a way as each function now has its own specific job. And now we use these functions to perform specific tasks. So if something's wrong now with the get stored information, I can go to get stored username and work on that function independently. So that's the basic idea behind refactoring. God bless you, wherever you are today.